at the Great Minnesota Get Together. If you want to feel the vibe of Minnesota, this is the place to be. All ages from hither, thither, and yon have congregated in St. Paul to eat, drink, and ride their way into a state of sweaty physical and mental bliss. And we at TC Streets wish them all the best with it. Today we will have an interview with Tim Walz. We have a clip of J.D. Vance shoveling manure. There will be music, 4-H, animal barns, the Midway, and more. So grab a leftover corn dog, a tub of cookies, and watch me as I meet and greet Minnesota. The Minnesota State Fair has over 1,000 restrooms on its grounds. Today I've been asked by Nick Hammer the Comic Plumber and Acme Plumbing Ltd. to review 2 of them. Nick would have been out here with me doing some of this dirty work, but has unfortunately been called to a plumbing emergency on Cabo San Lucas. Nick has left me with specific instructions and criteria, so let's begin at the beginning. Judgment will be made on 1. Paper quality, 2. Seat comfort, 3. Cleanliness, 4. Solitude, 5. Lighting, and 6. Music. Each category will receive a 1 to 6 plunger rating, with a 6 being the acme of relief. So here goes nothing. Our first review takes place at a large facility next to Cafe Caribe. First, paper quality. It was early, so I had no chance to test the paper quality. That review will come later. I assume they use the same paper throughout the fair. Second, seat comfort. The seat comfort review is thrown out at the fair. Under only the most extreme circumstances is anyone ever advised to come within 2 inches of a toilet seat on the fairgrounds. Third, cleanliness. It was early. Everything looked spick and span. The floor was still damp to just being mopped, and the extreme humidity that morning. I award this category 6 plungers. Fourth, solitude. Once again, I was early and had plenty of room. I did notice all the stall doors were affixed and looked in good working order. The urinals had privacy walls, and the baby changers were given plenty of room. I felt a little lonely at the urinal. Next year, I may wait a couple hours before my first visit. 5 plungers. The 5th category is lighting. The lighting was great. It kept me from slipping in the puddles on the floor and came in handy during the unzipping and zipping processes. Also, it had a substantial benefit when it came to hand washing. Kudos to the lighting. 6 plungers. In conclusion, I'm giving this restroom 2 plungers. It would have gained a plunger or 2 if it had only given some of its substantial wall ad space to either TC Streets or Acme Plumbing Ltd. Maybe next year they will learn their lesson. Animals are a big draw at the fair. Horses, beef cattle, dairy cattle, swine, sheep, dairy goats, llamas, poultry, and rabbits all participate. Memorably, on August 31st, 2007, a bull escaped from its handler, charging several fairgoers, before fatally injuring itself charging a fire hydrant. Thankfully, no people were seriously injured. In 2008, 218 fire hydrants were installed around the cattle barn in what some view as an extreme act of precaution. Now that's a fine derriere. There's the sad part. Here we have the world's largest boar, named Field Marshal, and his testicles. Artificial insemination, the other AI. Here's a pig strutting along with its handler. This reminds me of New York City Fashion Week. Oh, sorry. Now I'm going to cry again. They really could have been nicer. I didn't design the clothing, or the lack thereof. I was just semi wearing it. Chickens, geese, ducks, and turkeys. Birds of a feather are flocking together here in the Minnesota State Fair Poultry Building. The colors and patterns are spectacular, but what I really can't get enough of is the head bobbing. I predict science will one day discover an internal rhythm in the poultry brain scans. There's a reason we have a dance called the Funky Chicken. Buzz Beeman signing off saying, "This place is making me hungry and funky."
Thank you.
Two of them. Two of them, yeah. Sorry.
Anything on those?
Mustard, both.
I'm not going to be able to eat that with that mustache.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get mustard all over it.
That's okay.
Anything on this one?
That's good, yeah. I thought
Thank you.
A great debate at the Minnesota State Fair is corn dog versus Pronto Pup. This year, I chose the Pronto Pup. Sadly, it tasted like grime. One of my favorite rides is the Sky Ride. This seems like a good time to delve into some Minnesota State Fair history. Great ideas often start with visions. The Smithsonian was started with a donation from a British citizen who had the insight that America would be something to remember. The Mayo Clinic sprung up on the desolate plains of Minnesota after the vision of a couple nuns. The Minnesota State Fair is no exception. Few people remember the name Thor Sorensen, but many people have laughed, cried, and screamed because of the vision he had in 1858. Hunger on the plains was no stranger to many. To Thor Sorensen, it was a constant companion. Thor was traveling the country working as a rodeo clown. One day in the ring, he was distracted by sword swallower Greta Anderson, the very same Greta rumored to have murdered Gustav Schimmel because of an uncouth comment during one of her Saturday evening shows. As he watched Greta, he was shot into the air like a cannonball by the gargantuan bull named Rex the Furious. As he lay in the hospital with lacerations and a fever, he dreamt of Greta, sausages, and corn on the cob slathered in butter. Too disfigured to travel, Thor hatched his plan for a permanent end-of-harvest festival on the outskirts of town. Luckily for us, the accident that semi-crippled Thor happened to him in St. Paul, for it has over the years given joy to millions of Minnesotans and the plumbers in the region plenty of work for the 2 weeks during the fair and the 1 week after the fair. Buzz Beeman signing off saying, "Thor Sorensen, this Pronto Pup's for you." On average, the Minnesota State Fair produces 650 tons of trash. Calvin Coolidge made an appearance at the Minnesota State Fair during the Norse American Centennial. President Coolidge gave recognition to Scandinavian Americans and said Leif Erikson discovered America. There's another reason no one remembers Calvin Coolidge. Most foods at the fair are deep fried on a stick or served in buckets. The most notable recent addition is Hot Dish on a Stick, which was introduced in 2006. Though personally, I prefer my hot dish in a bucket.
Get the water tower.
Get this. It's terrible. Teenagers.
Teenagers.
Sadly, this part of the ride has recently started to bring me down. I'm beginning to feel like everyone but me is having fun. I'd drop my underwear on the roof too, but the Pronto pup I ate earlier would leave the roof cleaners with a not insignificant possibility of E. coli.
Buzz Beeman at the meditation and prayer tent. I don't know what to say about the meditation and prayer tent actually. Om? Maybe Om. Hallelujah? I don't know, but I'm going to go in there and check it out because after that last bratwurst, I needed some healing. Looks like it's been used quite often in the meditation. Please help, because I think it's the please help. Now I'm gonna take a little nap. Oh, 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 oh! This is just what I needed after that bratwurst. I'm gonna take a little nappy poo in the meditation and prayer tent. Buzz Beeman signing off saying, God bless the world, not just America, the world too. It's really been an eye-opener down here.
If you need a moment of tranquility at the State Fair, I recommend the Sunflower Garden or the meditation tent. But be forewarned, if you choose the tent, meditation at the State Fair apparently smells of sweat. Buzz Beeman here on the Midway. I'm about to enter the Mirror Maze. I've never been in a Mirror Maze. I'm very excited. This isn't what I expected. I feel disoriented, confused, stupid. I thought this would be easier. And when I run into the glass, all I can think of is boogers and spittle. For some reason, I'm feeling an urgent need to cry out, Mommy. Maybe it's the fact that I keep seeing my father's reflection in the mirrors. It feels like there are more than one of them, too. It's disquieting.
We're now entering.
Why do you wear those nipple rings? That had to hurt. They didn't look particularly decorative. I mean, paint would have probably looked better, cost less, and been safer. But to each his own. This is America, and who am I to judge? After all, I have a mustache. Well, I finally made it out safely. These wacky distorting mirrors are fun. Buzz Beeman signing off saying, don't do drugs in the Mirror Maze. And please, stay in therapy. One of my favorite stops at the fair is the History Building. Photos and facts abound. Learn about human cannonballs. Look at photos of wing walkers, butter sculptures, and giant vegetables. Staring at the photo of tractors and combines on Machinery Hill reminded me of how hard life and work used to be, and that loss of limbs could once again quickly be deemed acceptable.
That was their job.
Buzz Beeman signing off saying, I don't know if history repeats itself, but that kid in the corner certainly is. If the fair leaves you wondering who you are and what makes you tick, take the grandstand's personality analysis.
Take the zodiac sign, we'll throw it in the machine and spit out some facts about yourself based on your handwriting. And it also gives you a horoscope and some lucky numbers.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Lucky numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a good deal. Oh, thank you. There you are.
All right.
Thank you.
They use the time-tested Televac 86,000, which lets you know what's really going on in your mind, body, and soul.
Lucky numbers. When I go to Monte Carlo next winter. Monte Carlo numbers.
In short, it seems I'm in need of help, but I drive others away.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I enjoy helping others. I have many artistic creative talents. I have a deep well of inner strength. I enjoy compliments, but dislike flattery. I don't listen attentively. That's not true. I'm a crack reporter. I would guess that. Oh my God. Let's see what my lucky numbers are. I need them for Monte Carlo. Lucky numbers are 26, 22, 31, 9, 3, and 24. Excellent.
What's my favorite activity?
Yeah.
This is my first year at the fair, so this is all I've done.
My favorite part of the fair is talking to you. I'm very lonely.
Buzz Beeman coming at you saying eat a peach.
These peaches are delicious. Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes and innumerable fish. Here we are at the DNR fish pond, looking at a few of them. There are mighty muskies, bluegills, sunnies, northern pike, etc., etc. My grandpa used to take me fishing. He'd fill the cooler with beer, take a slug of whiskey, and we'd head out onto the lake at sunrise. I drove the boat, of course. I believe these long mornings and afternoons opened the window for me into the practice of Buddhism. Staring at the water rippling on the lake as my grandfather snored left me only two options: murder or meditation. He'd wake up at about 6 and say, "This is making me hungry. Start her up. We have some fish to gut." Buzz Beeman signing off from the DNR fish pond saying, "This is making me hungry too, for anything but fish."
They had to point it out multiple times. And then she moves very frequently. And you notice they get aggressive. I had my hand over there.
This handler has restored my hope in America. She's firm but gentle. It reminds me of the famous Teddy Roosevelt quote, "Speak softly, but carry a big stick," which was first uttered at the Minnesota State Fair on September 2nd, 1901. Though few remember that at the time of the quote, Teddy was tapping a heckler on the head with a foot-long Pronto Pup. Our second restroom review takes place in a porta potty located next to the State Fair offices. It is an abbreviated review due to time constraints and a general lack of knowledge on the subject. Apologies to Nick and the fine people at Acme Plumbing Ltd. First of all, I had to sit on the seat. Sans paper. It was, as I feared, sticky. 0 plungers. Second category, paper quality. Thin and rough. Did the job, but left me with a brown finger, which unfortunately came to my attention after I tried to be funny plugging my nose for the camera. 1 plunger. Something's better than nothing. Overall, I give this porta potty 6 plungers. I've never been that close to the ultimate embarrassment. Buzz Beeman and Acme Plumbing Ltd. signing off saying, "Next year, I'm wearing a diaper." This place is making me hungry. I wish I was in France.
As you can see, we have now entered the Republican section of the sheep barn.
This year, there are 3 things I learned in the ecological building. I found out that on a track, carrots are faster than peppers and cucumbers. My underwear are still passable. And giant turd sculptures can be very comfortable.
Buzz Beeman here at Salem Lutheran Dining Hall, where I've just enjoyed a wonderful egg coffee, which I didn't know what it was until I asked the man and then had one. It was it's a whole egg that is smashed up and then put into the coffee grounds, and then it's brewed with the grinds, and then it's much smoother. And believe me, it is. I'm going to be back every year for the egg coffee. The Swedes really know what they're doing with this one. Once again, the Salem Lutheran Church Dining Hall, and inside dining is available. Buzz Beeman signing off saying, that was delicious.
Unfortunately, my attempt at humor at the fair, which involved putting a tiny hand on my pinky finger, elicited no reaction, not even anger. My mom was right. The big hand is funnier. Next year, I tried the big hand.
I didn't put my game back. So it doesn't work. We got
At this point in his visit to the Minnesota State Fair, Buzz had overindulged. So much so that he neglected to turn on his microphone while interviewing this Instagram influencer, resulting in video but no audio. Buzz also failed to remember the name of this influencer, who regularly reviews beers of the Twin Cities and was attending the Minnesota State Fair to do just that, even though it is obvious when watching the video that this influencer twice told Buzz her name and spelled her Instagram handle. We at TC Streets apologize for the ineptitude of our reporter Buzz Beeman. Viewers, if you recognize this Instagram influencer, please ask her to contact TC Streets via direct message on X, formerly known as Twitter, at the handle appearing on your screen. We would like to invite her to the TC Streets studio to share what would have been very important information for you, the viewer.
Crop art is one of the big attractions to the Minnesota State Fair and is separate from the fine art show. The art is all made from plant material: seeds, stems, flowers, fruit, etc. Many a bean portrait have found their way deep into the heart of the most casual Minnesota art lover. I, for one, cried tears of joy while standing in front of the Peapod Jesse Ventura portrait. Going to State Fair. Gonna ride the Scrambler and the Tilt-A-Whirl. Going to the State Fair. Gonna ride the Ferris wheel. Win a stuffed animal. Gonna have some apple pie and some cherry pie and some cream pie. Going to State Fair. Gonna get a caricature. Ride the big swing. Going to State Fair. Gonna see the chickens. Pet the goats. Gonna have some apple pie and some cherry pie and some apple pie again and some apple pie and some cherry pie and some cream pie. Going to State Fair. Gonna ride the Tilt-A-Whirl again. Historically, the most provocative work of art ever submitted to the State Fair Art Show was an installation titled This Art is Art, in which 233 pieces of art were submitted by an anonymous artist. Unfortunately, only the head and torso were accepted. Next year, Anonymous tried submitting art number 2. Fortunately, that year, Anonymous was promptly apprehended. Buzz Beeman signing off saying, "Now that's good, clean fun. I need a donut."